It was January 29th, with forecasted highs in the 50s and lows around 30. So I made an escape to the Ozark Trail for 4 or 5 days to hike out and back on the current river section. I also added in a few side trails to see some nearby features. On the first day, I started in mid to late afternoon, and before starting the Ozark Trail, I hiked out and back to Blue Spring, which is one of Missouri's many unbelievably big springs.
1.5 miles out, 1.5 miles back to Blue Spring, and then I'll jump on the OT and get underway. First glimpses of the current river. It's a National Scenic River managed by the National Park Service. This is the flow from the spring coming down its tributary, and over here it's joining the current river.
Blue Spring feeds 90 million gallons of water per day into the current river. It's also the deepest spring in Missouri. At 310 feet deep, it's deep enough for the Statue of Liberty to be fully submerged beneath its surface.
Hard to believe that's all coming out of a spring. Done with the side trip to Blue Springs. Just have to get far enough onto the trail to camp for the night. Got to cross the highway bridge to get over to the other side of the current river first.
These may have been elk, but it was too dark to be sure. I set up camp and ate dinner in the dark, and then the coyotes sang me to sleep. I woke the next morning to get the first daytime glimpse of my riverside campsite.
Let's quit our jobs and wander off. You know you can't be found if you don't get lost. Let's say goodbye to those.
It's a great little camp spot right here.
Spend a little time chasing down the sun. Live a little life. Move a little slow. Spend a little.
This is Indian Creek. The trail is supposed to cross this 3 times in the next mile, so I don't know if I'll be able to keep the feet dry or not. Success for crossing number 1. Indian Creek crossing number 2. This one looks easy. Crossing number 3. Doesn't look like a total foot soaker, but it doesn't look like there's an easy workaround. Feet got a little wet, but not totally soaked. Native shortleaf pine. They're gorgeous. This is Rocky Creek of shut-ins here, and an old mill, Klepzig Mill. Every time I try to keep my feet dry later in the day, I wonder why I haven't bothered.
Klepzig Mill was built in 1928 in the shut-ins on Rocky Creek.
At the end of the world.
Instead of a traditional water wheel, this mill used a turbine, and the power was used to grind corn and to produce electricity.
It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. Here to amuse you. I was once confused too, but no matter what you choose, you can't go wrong.
Well, after a little kind of frosty, wet morning, I'm taking layers off, and oh my gosh, there's a big elk. And that elk was really awesome. He knew I was there the whole time, I'm pretty sure. Just kind of kept checking on me. I didn't move too quickly. Just tried to stay quiet, and he stayed pretty calm. That was amazing. Followed Indian Creek for a while this morning. Now I'm following Rocky Creek. Taking a little half mile off trail to Rocky Falls. Rocky Falls. That was very worthwhile. Well, I don't know if this is more flow than it usually gets. Whatever the case, it's beautiful. On Steagle Mountain, this is known as Steagle Glade. I think I'm gonna camp here. The problem is it's pretty exposed. It's gonna get down to freezing. Wind chill in the lower 20s. I'm heading toward the fire lookout. Well, there it is. Steagle Mountain lookout. It looks like I can maybe go up the steps. I'm up. Can't go in. It's locked. But that's cool. At least get the view. Well, once again, having dinner in the dark, but that's all right. I cooked dehydrated lentils and then added dehydrated hummus powder. I also added powdered coconut milk for extra calories and dehydrated vegetables. And that's gonna go on tomato basil wraps. That there is a thing of beauty right there. It's gonna taste good. It's nice and warm too. And to go with dinner, there's a little tawny port. I think I might put every layer I have on. Hopefully, I'll stay warm. Good morning from top of Steagle Mountain. With 29 degrees this morning, the wet socks are frozen. This is the sunrise. You'd think it's a moon looking at it. Heading to Peck Ranch Conservation Area. It looks like the trail is in a camping restricted area for about 6 miles. So have to make it through that in one sweep, which is not a big deal at all. Camp somewhere over on the other side. Bit of a loss for what these are. And this is another one. So much for the dry feet for today. Just barely broke the freezing mark. There we go. There have been a few pretty short little sections of double track like this. Not a big deal. It's kind of a nice little break, honestly. This is Mint Spring. Have a water source now. It's not a ton, but it's all good. Here we are. The infamous ramen bomb. Ramen noodles with instant mashed potatoes to soak up the broth. And instead of Spam, I'm using dehydrated lentils. Cold morning. Well, last night was as cold as it's been. It's 25 degrees. And another beautiful sunrise. It was also the night of the owl. Owls hooting all night long. Really beautiful. One more night out here. Tomorrow's my last day. I'll use most of it to get back to the car, but yay, it's coffee time.
This hiker is really happy, you can tell. And that's because these are the best hiking food you can ask for. Unfortunately, you can only get them in Southern California as far as I know.
Trying to dry everything out. The tent fly had a decent layer of ice underneath it and everything else is kind of damp. Kind of amateurish to sleep down in the valley, right down at the bottom by Mint Spring, but it was a really nice spot. Sometimes you just go for it anyway and you deal with the ice and cold and wet in the morning. All dry and put back together again, ready to go. This is the fence, defining the fenced-in area at the north end of Peck Ranch. So obviously not here to contain animals. Saw one other hiker, looked like a day hiker. That's the only hiker I've seen out, and I only saw 2 other people that they had driven to Rocky Falls. I'm on day 3.5, and that's all I've seen for people. It's pretty amazing. Not the most glorious example of frost flowers growing out of the mud. Normally you grow up around the base of grass
and curl and turn. They're really pretty elaborate sometimes. Pretty cool. I'm glad to see some. Here's my last night's campsite. I'm on the spur heading up toward Rocky Falls. I'm gonna go up and see if I can get some twilight shots, maybe some sunrise shots. Oh, that campsite was really cozy, up on a little bit of an elevation above the creek in the pine forest and on the pine duff. It was just toasty warm, and I didn't have any condensation in the tent this morning. Whew, that cold, wow. It's part of the way up Mill Mountain, just above Buzzard Mountain shut-ins on Rocky Creek. This is a pretty cool spot. That's the fire lookout on Steagle Mountain. Now that's an impressive vine. Looks like an old building, maybe part of Klepzig Mill, the people that lived there. Rocky Creek right behind this, going down to Klepzig Mill, probably part of the old homestead. Remnants of another building right next to that shack. The front steps and porch, maybe. Back to Highway 106. This section of the Ozark Trail surprised me with its beauty as it showcased its iconic Ozark scenery. It also gave me the solitude that I needed to clear my head of the chatter and noise from modern civilization. I'm fortunate to have easy access to a place with such wonderful nature and peace.